Hello there, today I will show you how to shoot this bullet for third person and third person. For third person, you just need to know how to line the shoot to the center of the screen, just like that. And for third person, I will make another tutorial just to show you some subsystems, like the aim down sight to line the gun sight to the center of the screen, and this is wedge system. So about the third person, as you can see, the crosshair is on this point, but my weapon is aiming to the flashlight position, right here. To align the shoot to the crosshair position, you have some techniques. For example, you can move the body of your character, you can move just the torso, or using Ike bones, you can move just the hands of the character to the point that you want. Another technique is move the camera instead of the character. The thing about these two techniques is that for just 1 pixel, the camera of the character will move a lot. And just to align a little bit the body, you can just go to the animation blueprint, animation grab of the Advanced Locomotion System, and here just separate this local component from this part, the hand key, and select this node, call it transform. Transform is a modify bone. It's this one, and here you can just select this, expose a spin, to just use the rotation, applying that, and I just need to do the rotation on the CJO. And I'm using an align aim, just a value of 2. To rotate a little bit the pelvis, the spine, the 3 spines bones, a little bit to the right. Okay, so here, as you can see, my system is working because what I'm doing is shoot a line trace directly from the center of the camera to get a vector. With that vector, I'm just rotating the firewall rotation to that point. So first, I'm going to create the crosshair. Just right click, select user interface with the blueprint, give it a name, and that's all. For your crosshair, you need a component aligning on the center of the screen. So in this case, I'm using an overlay with these 4 images just to create the crosshair, but you can just go an image and just remember, select an anchor, this one, 0 on these 2 positions, and on the alignment 0.5 and 0.5. This will align the component to the center of the screen. Obviously, you need to create a widget. Right click, create widget. Right here, select the widget that you just created, add your viewport, and that's all. So now, what's the shoot logic? You can spawn an actor, or you can just shoot a line trace. The line trace is less expensive than having an actor with a 3D model, but with an actor, you can have some functionalities. For example, the ricochet. For this, I'm using the qubit in a projectile, it's part of the Ballistics FX, but you can also use the EasyBallistics, it's free on the marketplace. I will put a link on the description, and it's something similar. But in case you don't have any bullets, I will show you this qubit in a projectile. As you can see, I have a collision component and a static mesh. That's all what you need. But I will show you how to create a base actor. Just select a blueprint class, actor, give it a name, and for example, for this thing, I'm gonna use a sphere collision as the main root component just to edit the real size of this bullet. I'm going to select a static mesh right here and select something. For example, you can use a sphere editor, log the value just to select something really small, for example, something like this, put it on the level just to adjust the real size of your bullet. And now, first, let me show you what I did for the interaction system. This is very similar to my last tutorial, where I show you how to create the weapon actor. Here, I'm using another input, an object reference to the parent class of all the weapons. You can just make a right click, promote the variable, and set it, and now you have a reference to the current weapon that your character has. Okay, so I'm using that reference to get the skeletal mesh. As you can see, let me just show you the parent class. This one, I'm using a reference to this point, and here, on all my skeletons, I have 2 sockets. You can create a socket just if you make a right click, and here is add a socket, given a name, and that's all. So I'm using the muzzle for the fire location, but I also have this barrel just to make a final look a rotation between these 2 sockets to get the gun rotation. So here, as you can see, I have the get socket location of the muzzle and the barrel. So if you make a fine local rotation, you can have the real rotation of your gun. And let me show you what I did for the line trace that I spawned directly from the center of the camera. I'm using the Advanced Locomotion System, and this thing uses a camera manager for the camera system. But if you are using another system, you can just use a reference for your camera component right here. Just get the camera, and you can use the get world location. So I'm on the Advanced Locomotion System. Just get a reference to the player controller, the player camera manager. Just get the camera location and the rotation. So just create a line trace by channel. Just right click, line trace by channel. Okay, so I'm using the camera location as the start point, and I'm using the camera rotation just to get the forward vector. I'm using a really high value and add it to the original camera location just for the end. But in case that this doesn't hit something, for example, if you're aiming to the sky, you can just use the return value to select a vector. So here, just make a break to result. So if the line trace hits something, I'm gonna use the impact point. But if it's not, I'm gonna use just the trace end. So I'm using just collapse nodes. So this is the output, and I'm using this right here. This is the input. If I go to the event graph, here's my event tick, and here's just the attack system where I have the shoot functionality. Okay, so this is the input. So if you make a fine local rotation between the muzzle of your weapon, the muzzle is right here, and the vector that you get from the line trace, you will have the real rotation that you want. Okay, so what I'm using the real rotation, I'm using this one for the first person, but you can also use the middle point of your screen as the real point for the shooting system, even if you are in third person and you have an F sign functionality. And I'm also using this to clamp the value. Okay, let me just show you something quickly. My weapon is aiming to this point while I'm aiming right here. Okay, and as you can see, my line trace is not on the point on the crosshair. Okay, this is because I like to clamp the value just to prevent my rotation from exceeding certain degrees based on my actual rotation of the weapon. So I'm just going to rotate the fire location -20 and 20 angle degrees. Here I'm using, as you can see, I have this condition if I'm in third person and in third person, just to select two vectors. This is just a selector, as you can see. So it's a rotation. If this is false, it will pick this one, third person. And if this is true, it will pick the first person values. But this is not really necessary. You can just use all the values from your crosshair rotation. Okay, just to spawn the actor. And as you can see, I'm using a make transform. You can, for example, if I just split this, you can just connect these values right here. Okay, yeah, just to use the clamp functionality and pick between different kinds of positions, I'm using this code. This is if you want to spawn an actor, but if you want to shoot a line trace, it's actually the same. You can just use a fire location. As you can see here on the muzzle, the socket location, I'm using this one for the location right here, and for the location of the line trace. Yeah, you can also use that for spawn an emitter, a particle. It's actually pretty similar. So yeah, actually that's all. I will make another tutorial just to show you this aim to sign functionality. As you can see here, I don't have it. You can just set it as default. As you can see, it's working just as the third person. And yeah, that was all.